something that's been kind of on my mind lately is do yeah, I'm gonna name some names. I don't even care. And before I do,
Whoa!
well, no, before I do name any names, I want to point out that everybody I mention here is someone that's doing amazing content, and they are, from what all I can tell, great people who love comics in a healthy way, and they engage in fandom, and they just want to express their love of comics and their analysis of comics. And yeah, so everybody I name here, nobody, I'm not calling anybody out in the same way that I call out Comicsgate. I just want to have a discussion that's been kind of on my mind lately. Owen likes comics. Matt Draper, great guy. Love their content. As soon as any of their videos drop, I'm watching it.
Comics Explained. How about him?
Comics Explained, yeah. Comics Explained is one of my first YouTube channels that I ever started watching. I love Rob. I love Rob's energy. Like him, watching his content, like I binged the fuck out of Rob's channel when I first came across him. Like up until I came across Comics Explained, I pretty much just exclusively used YouTube's for like music videos and movie trailers and little, things like that. I didn't see it as something where I'd spend a lot of time to watch anything. And then I came across Comics Explained, and at the time I was not able to buy comics, so like just getting caught up through Rob's channel was fucking great. I love the dude. I love his energy. I love his passion. I love his knowledge, his wisdom. It's all great. All right, so yeah, he's one of them. Let's see who else we got. Comic Tom. I love Comic Tom. He's a good dude. From what I can tell, everything I can tell. Near mint condition.
Damn.
Okay. Well, a Comic Storian, right? Is another one. And I know, Robo, you guys, I freaking love comics. You guys have streamed with Comic Storian. He seems like an awesome guy too. I'm not disparaging any of these people or their content. Please know that. I just have the question of, if you're a comic book YouTuber and you have a platform, do you have some kind of obligation to, at least once in a while, address the toxicity of fandom directly? What do you guys think?
Can I start?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. Okay. So I didn't know anyone from your list outside of Comics Explained. Now, from what I gather, I think Rob has another channel, and I think he does. He did get a bit. I don't know what word to use. He did get like political, where he was saying some stuff about his fan base. The whole do your research crowd. Every time like he would mention something, he seemed to be anti-Trump at the time. They would say, you need to do your own research, blah, blah, blah. And he hit him back with like, no, I'm asking you to give me the information. Don't not do your own research. Don't say do your own research. That's lazy. Can you please give me the information I'm asking for in terms of what he was talking about with Trump? So I don't know how you feel about that, but I think making another channel, maybe talking about those specifics, is something that is an option. I don't know how you feel about that. What do you think, Dane? Oh, Dane went to get water, didn't he?
No, I'm back. Oh,
okay.
I honestly, I don't have a firm position on this. This is a question I'm asking that I'd like to feedback on. My instinctive feeling is that yes, that at least once in a while, if you have, especially these people with large ass platforms, and I do think that a secondary channel would be a way to go. I don't think that's like a bad thing as an option. But it's like, they have to understand. I'm sure that on some level they know the toxicity that goes on. What do you guys think? Do you think that like those larger comic book YouTubers, the ones that I mentioned, who are all fucking fantastic in their own way, by the way, do you think that they do you think that the platform and being engaged in comics media and fandom, like, do you think that it would, I don't want to say obligation, but that's kind of what I feel like almost is like, yeah.
I think it's warranted to use that word, because it's like you are talking about comics, and I assume, you're talking about the community as well. You're talking about what's going on both inside the comics and outside the comics. I assume. I don't know whether they do or not.
Well, no, most of them strictly focus on the comics themselves. Like, you know, if you look at a Matt Draper, Owen likes comics. Those are two of my favorite guys. Comic Tropes as well. But like, if you look at their channels, they strictly just like, you know, will look at the history of the behind the scenes, like the creators. How did this comic come to be? What's the theme of it? You know, what's the character arc? You know, what does Spider-Man go through, and all that. And that's, I mean, fucking great content, man. Like they're truly inspirational people to me. And like with most of these guys are people that inspired me to want to make content. But like, however, and I'm not sitting here trying to say I'm better than anybody because they do that stuff better than I could do it. But when I started making content, I was like, man, I would feel guilty if I didn't address some of this stuff that I see as a problem. Like I would feel like I wasn't using, you know, I don't know, like I wasn't doing the right thing in a way. You know, and I understand that like somebody on Twitter, when I tweeted about it originally, said, well, you know, not everybody, like Chris from Comic Tropes is he's a very wholesome guy, and that's true. Chris seems like just one of the friendliest, most wholesome dudes, and I wouldn't expect him to jump into streams and start directly addressing any specific comic skaters or anything like that. But I think maybe you could frame it in such a way as to be like, you know, you don't have to mention anybody. You could make a video every now and then saying, well, there's this narrative that I've seen that is inaccurate or just flat out untrue. Now, let me give you the real context behind this issue or something like that. I feel like that's something they could do. And yeah, it would probably draw some negative attention, but at the same time, you're a large enough platform on YouTube, you're going to get negative attention no matter what. And I'm sure that even though some of these guys don't talk about anti-SJWs, they're still getting called SJWs here and there and shit like that, just because they, you know, talk positively about Marvel and DC and stuff like that.
Yeah. What if like they're on that such a Sigma grind set to the point that it's like it's almost like a meta argument that they're having. Like, no, we're not addressed because those aren't real comic fans. We're not going to address the fake comic fans. What if like that's sort of their mind frame or something?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess that for me, it's like maybe I'm just more aware of the specific instances of targeted harassment and abuse, especially towards people of color and LGBT creators and fans. Maybe I've just become so aware of that stuff that I can't get it out of my mind. But like, I don't know. It just, the way I view what's going on in our culture in general, whether it's comics or otherwise, is like, if you were against this stuff, it's like all hands on deck, in my view. You know what I mean? Like, if you're against this stuff, you need to at least once in a while. And yeah, some of them on Twitter do address it here and there, but it's like you're getting way more views on YouTube than you are on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't come down hard on either side of this. It's just a question that's been kind of bubbling up in my mind, and I wanted to get some feedback from people about it.
I'm under the impression that it would be nice, you know, and if they don't do it, it's like, oh yeah, it sucks, but what are you going to do, right? We're not going to call them out. It's like, why won't you then?
No.
Or something like that, right?
No, and yeah, like I said, from everything I can see, these people are good people, and there's actually a value. I want to underscore this as well. There's value to them doing what they do in regards to pushing back against this stuff, just because you need to have counter content on the platform.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe I am kind of mistaken in thinking that you have to go directly at it and speak directly to it, because there's definitely you know, diversity of tactics. I believe in diversity of tactics, right? When it comes to, you know, dealing with essentially fascism and toxicity, and it's like they're just talking about it in a positive way is valuable towards fostering a healthier fandom.
Yeah, I was going to say that because, you know, it's because of Comics Explained specifically, they got me interested in that arc, the Secret Empire arc. I think you were actually even talking about it earlier, the Captain America is Hydra arc. I got the comic because he was explaining what happened to it. It sounded amazing. And I think in its own way, that's fighting that narrative that like comics aren't good now, right? It got me to want to see one of these stories. So yeah, I can sort of see that in their own way. They're doing it right. They're selling those comics that these other assholes are saying are full of, they're bad, they're terrible, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and by the way, if I mentioned anybody who has addressed this stuff directly and I just maybe haven't seen it, then I'm that's my mistake for not doing more research, and I can't say enough how much I'm not trying to demonize or paint anybody as apathetic or anything like that. It's literally just a question, ethical question, philosophical question, whatever. And on the other hand, I just also want to say that there are some, Ernie, Blurred Without Fear. He came on my channel a few months ago and he had no qualms naming names, talking about, the grift and shit like that. I mean, that's why I got him. I got a clip of him in my opening intro where he's like, have you put Cyberfrog in the hands of all the people that have paid you for it or whatever? So like there are some, I freaking love comics. They are a growing channel. They definitely aren't like a large platform or anything, but they still, and they focus a lot on just passion of the comics themselves. And media.
And they're very funny. Like I've only had run-ins through like them talking to you and stuff, and like I think they're gonna get pretty big for sure if they're a new channel, because they're very entertaining.
Well, I mean, they've been around a year or so, but I mean, I think that they're just getting warmed up, to be honest. I think those guys are really getting their legs under them, and anything I can do to help them, get more views, I mean, if they grew bigger than me, I'd be fucking ecstatic. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to compete with them, because what they do is extremely valuable, and honestly, I've grown to be good friends with them. So awesome. But at the same time, like Robo will come on here, and Judah will come on here, and even they invited me on to their to interview me on their stream, and they had no qualms addressing this stuff and asking me about it. In fact, they asked me on because they appreciated that I'm doing this. So, Cape Joel, Darnell, are you saying that he has or hasn't addressed these things, or what? I used to watch Cape Joel. I don't have, not for any specific reason, but I just haven't watched him much. Yeah, absolutely. Reggie. Hey, how's it going, Reggie, by the way?
Hello.
Sketchy Got Hands. Indie comics creator himself, doing good work.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Grow together. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying that it has to be either or, where like either they get bigger or I do or whatever, but like, I mean, I'm just saying that there needs to be more channels like them, and Blurred Without Fear, who are definitely engaging with the media as fans and just talking about the content and the stories and the creators and such, but are also not afraid to mention this other stuff too. That's all I'm saying. I'm not expecting every comics YouTuber to just suddenly become, like every video is going to be talking shit on Comicsgate. I realize that I am pretty uniquely suited to do what I do, and there's a number of reasons for that. One of them is I've just been through enough shit in my life that I'm kind of unafraid and I also prepared for it. These guys started their channels probably just wanting to talk about comics, whereas I started my channel with a lot of preparation as far as protecting my identity and my information, and because I knew that speaking out was going to make me a target. And so I definitely am not trying to say anybody needs to do exactly what I do, but
purposing it.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of the larger creators are bigger than most Comicsgate channels. That's true. Yeah, I mean that's another thing, honestly, that larger channels could do, is just platform smaller indie creators, people of color, queer creators. That's another way that another tactic that is totally valid.